Hello everyone, this is Yoga with Alex Goodson. Welcome to this class which sees us stay more or less grounded at all times, but will hopefully hit all the spots. Start cross-legged or legs extended, or even sat on your heels if that's more comfortable for you. Get yourself a block or a brick, that may be helpful, and maybe a blanket for relaxation too. Close your eyes once you're comfortably seated and find the crown of the head lifting up towards the ceiling as you allow the shoulders to stack just above the hips and the elbows to come in towards the waistline. Your hands may be palms facing down or up, depending on what you feel like doing today. Start to inhale and exhale. And notice what it feels like to be in your breath right now. Notice the rise and the fall of your body as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Notice the expansion on the inhale and the deflation as you exhale. And you may use your breath to scan through your body to notice the areas that feel right, the areas that feel not so right, maybe the areas that feel wrong, so that you know to only go as far as you feel is comfortable. When you're ready to slowly open your eyes, bring the gaze back through towards the center. You can stay with this leg crossed in this position right now, or you can extend or move. We'll start our practice with a little bit of pranayama, so finding the life force and the breath through some technique here. This one is called Nadi Shodhana, which is the alternate nostril breathing. If you've never done this before, give it a go. If it doesn't feel good, perhaps you can come back to it another time. What we do here is, I like to take my thumb tip and my ring fingertip, and they'll be used to pinch right at the top of the nose so no air comes through. Only one finger at a time, otherwise you're not breathing. And you can place your index finger and your middle finger to rest in the middle of the forehead if you like, or for them to be away, that's fine too. What happens is that we'll be breathing in through a nostril, exhaling through the other one, then breathing in again and exhaling. So we take a full breath through one nostril and then a full breath through another nostril, alternating nostrils. So let's give it a try. Find yourself with your thumb on top of your, for me it's the right nostril right here. I'm going to just allow my exhale to happen here on the left. Breathe in through the left. Put your finger on your left nostril and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left, right thumb on the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Let's close with an exhale on the left. Release the fingers, just notice what the breath feels like. If there's a little bit of congestion, like I feel that there was for me right now, you may blow your nose, for instance. This is a good tip actually, to have some tissue at hand. You may do more than a few rounds, as we did, just to notice what it feels like afterwards. This, I found, is quite strong on the arms, so let's start by moving those arms around, and I'll take this opportunity as well to take the opposite crossing of the legs, or again you can release the legs or sit on your heels, take any seated posture that feels good and leave you full access to your arms. From this, let's take the arms out and move the fingers around. And then we're going to take some wrist rotations in one direction and then in the other direction. Then fingers towards the shoulders, and imagine you're drawing little circles with your elbows towards the walls or the opposite sides of the rooms, and then you can make those circles bigger and then move into your shoulders. And then maybe elbows come all the way together at the front, and then we'll reverse, so you can start perhaps with the big ones and then move to smaller ones until you come back to stillness. Release the arms out to the side, allow the arms to go down, and then you can move the arms independently, so from the shoulders, one forward, one back, and then the other way around. Hands to the legs. We're going to take some neck stretches here. Inhale as you are, exhale over towards the left. Inhale back through to the center, exhale over towards the right. Inhale to the center, exhale to the left. Inhale to the center, exhale over to the right. Once more, inhale to the center, exhale to the left. Inhale to the center, exhale to the right. Let's inhale back through towards the center. This time, as you exhale, you're going to tuck the chin towards the chest and feel that stretch into the back of the neck. Inhale, come all the way back through to the center and upwards, lifting the throat, but trying to keep the back of the neck long too. Exhale, bring yourself back to that lovely double chin that will stretch the back of the neck. And again, inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. One last time, inhale, look up. Exhale back through towards the center, and let's take some shoulder rotation. So bring the shoulders forward, so you're rounding into your back. You bring the shoulders up towards the ears. You squeeze the shoulder blades together and back and down. Let's do this once more. So imagine you're sort of trying to squeeze the shoulders in all directions, and then in the other direction. So back, start with a squeezing at the back, then up towards the shoulders, the ears, and down. And let's do this one last time. Good. One last neck move. Allow the left ear to go towards the left shoulder. We'll just stay here for a few breaths, noticing the sensation that side neck stretch offers. Back through to the center and then over to the other side. Again, we stay here. Remember to try to keep the shoulders back and down, but notice if there is a tendency of one of the shoulders wanting to come forward, and if there is one side of the neck that will stretch more easily than the other. Come back up, shoulders up towards the ears, and then drop them down. And then again, up and down, and up and down. Let's take either the opposite crossing of the legs or the legs extended in front of us, whatever feels good. Bring the arms forward, interlace the fingers, press the palms away from you if that's comfortable. Then bring the arms up towards the ceiling. You could also have the palms separated and just the fingers pointing upwards. That would be just as good. And from here, imagine that you're a little snake being charmed out of a basket. So you just come to the side, singing in your head, optional. Mine goes a little bit like... And so from this here, we're actually, once we're right at the top, we're going to open the arms out and then just very gently turn over towards the left side with the spine. And that will allow the right arm to go to the outside of the left leg and the left hand to go behind. Now I'm on a support, so my hand, back hand, is on top of the support. And feel that gentle rotation. Every time you inhale, you lift. Every time you exhale, there is a little bit more twisting. The neck may or may not follow, we've warmed it enough. But here we're thinking about the spinal twist. Let's bring the gaze back through towards the center. The arms come all the way back into an arch or even a rainbow-like move, if you like. And then we're going to go over and open ourselves out to the other side. So the spine rotate. Every time you inhale, crown of the head goes up. And then if you can, just rotate gently some more. Remember that the head doesn't have to, but it can gaze towards the back shoulder. Inhale the arms back up through towards the center, and then let's bring the arms out to the side. I'm going to get rid of my support here. You may or may not want to do the same as we fold forward. So notice which leg is at the front here. We're going to inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bring ourselves forward. It may well be that the hands are flat to the floor and the spine's quite upright. Or if you like to, you can release the forearms to the floor and start to round into your spine. Stay here for a few breaths. Feel free to move the legs a little bit out of the way if that's more comfortable, even to having the legs open onto the outside of the arms with the feet forward. Then inhale, look up, lift the elbows up off the floor. You're going to go over to the side of the knee that is at the front. Try to keep both sitting bones down. And take a few more breaths here. Look up towards the hands, then bring yourself back through towards the center. Let's take the opposite crossing of the legs, or if your legs are still extending out, then you're simply going to move over to the other side. So again here, inhale, lift the spine, exhale, you're going to turn yourself over towards the other knee. aiming to keep both sitting bones down. Look back towards the hands and slowly bring yourself back around whilst rotating. So you're allowing the spine to twist and rotate as well as forward fold. Let's extend the legs in front of us there. There we go. So we find ourselves into our Dandasana here, our staff posture. So we extend the legs, we can move the toes and ankles a little bit and maybe take some rotations. Take the hands behind you, whether you want to be on your fist or hands flat. You're going to roll the shoulders up and down. So imagine this is you sitting on the beach, just sort of looking at people around, trying to tan underneath your armpits. Or at least just opening the chest. So feel the chest lifting, those shoulder blades, almost as if they were trying to overlap over the spine. Good, and then from this we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So come over towards the side and then bring yourself back onto hands and knees. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips and knees slightly separated. From here we're going to press the palms down, the top of the feet down. Exhale, round into your spine. Inhale. Crown of the head up and the tailbone up. Exhale, round. Inhale, crown of the head up and the tailbone up. Exhale, round. Inhale, crown of the head up and the tailbone up. Let's take this one last time. Exhale, round. Inhale, look up. Come back to your neutral posture. You're going to take the hands a little further forward and the knees a little further back, what I like to call the wobbly table here. And we're going to bring the hips over to one side, then come forward and out to the other side. You may want a pad under your knees. Equally, you might find that because the movement is quite repetitive and fairly fast, if you like, that you might not need anything. And then in the other direction, so bottom towards the other side. So we're hoping to move those hips and open up a little bit more into the front of the hips and the hip flexors. And then you may be moving so much that you end up on your front. So let's try to now bring the knees under the hips, take them wide, sit back into your heels, into your child's posture. So take the hands behind you, perhaps the forehead is on the floor, perhaps the cheek is to the side. And take a few breaths here, noticing again that expansion or the inflation and deflation of your lungs, of your rib cage, of your back, of your belly, when you breathe. Next inhale, bring the arms forward. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the arms over towards the right side of the mat. The head may need to move here. You've anchored still, so your hips are still anchored down. So you're taking a stretch into the left side of the body by going to the right side of the mat. You can release the elbows down to the floor if that feels quite intense, or you can carry on stretching, feeling the left side bend. Inhale back through towards the center. Exhale, release the forearms, forehead to the floor. Take a breath here. Inhale, lift the head and move the arms over towards the left side of the mat, so you may stretch the right side of the body. Again, maybe there is a difference in sides. Notice the feedback that your body is giving you. Inhale back through towards the center. Exhale, release the elbows down, forehead to floor still. And then let's look towards the hands. Bring our bums above the knees. Release the feet back behind the knees, and then we're going to push ourselves up. So you've got the toes tucked, you're pushing onto the hands, and you're coming to a downward facing dog with the knees heavily bent here. And then you can maybe walk your dog a little bit, push back so that you feel the length of the spine. Maybe moving your hips from side to side and the feet from side to side. Then let's come back, knees towards the floor. And let's come back to being seated here, just releasing the shoulders. Forehead towards the floor, hands behind you. You're going to now inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, bring the arms forward into your puppy posture, bum above the knees. Inhale, one arm after the other under the shoulders and you look up. Exhale, you push the floor away and you round into your spine. Inhale, look up. Exhale, sit back into your heels. Let's repeat this. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward. Puppy. Inhale, one arm after the other, you look up. Exhale, rounding into the spine. Inhale, looking up once more. Exhale, sit back into your heels. Let's have 2 more of those. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward into puppy, bum above the knees, hands forward. Inhale, you may use your core strength to draw both arms at the same time, or do one arm at a time and then eventually just look up. Exhale, round into your spine. Inhale, look up. Exhale, sit back down into your heels one last time. Inhale, look up. Bring the torso upward. Exhale, into your puppy. Inhale, back into your cow. Exhale into your cat. Inhale into your cow. Exhale into your child. Stay here for another breath. Let's come back onto our shins and bring the left leg forward. For the next posture or two, I would recommend perhaps to have a brick. So we're going to bring that left leg forward. We can leave the brick at the front to start with. Let's take the hands down to the floor to frame the left leg. And essentially here we'll come into a lunge with the back knee lifted. Usually we tuck the back foot and we lift, so you see the bum lifting here. What we're trying to do is get a little bit more of the stretch into the front of the hip. So we're going to tuck the back foot, but imagine that the tailbone, so right at the bottom of the spine, is being glued towards the pubic bone. So we take that sort of pelvic tilt. And here you might find a little bit more of an engagement here. So you're aiming not to move the hips so much. As you now inhale and lift the back knee, exhale and release. We'll take this a few more times. Inhale, lift, exhale, release. Inhale, lift, exhale, release. For the last couple, can you do this without the help of your fingers? So in other words, you have to engage your core a little bit more, and you might even wibble wobble a bit more. Let's do this once more. And then let's release. Good. From this, you're going to take the hands to either side. You can either stay or come back into the tabletop or the down dog. Take your option. And then you release the knees to the floor. Then you're going to take the right leg forward. This is the leg that we worked at the front of the hip, and we're going to aim to work towards a little bit of a runner's lunge. Actually, on this one, you can sit back onto your heel, if that's comfortable for you, and place a brick under the other bottom cheek. You don't have to bums. And you're going to come forward and feel that stretch. Alternatively, if the flexion in the knee is not for you on this one, you can do this way. So choose what feels good. And you may even move the knee out of the way a little bit so that you can come forward. Oh, and look towards your foot. You may notice that the foot wants to come in or out, or is actually staying straight up. And if you were to move, sort of going around, so you outwardly rotate and internally rotate, internal and external rotation of that foot, what is the effect on your calf and hamstring? And then here we're going to release the brick. Come back to this time doing this on the other side. So we frame the right leg, we tuck the back foot, we bring the left knee back as far back as we can. Tuck the toes, remember that tailbone is still down with that pelvic rotation, so that here when you lift, it feels like an effort and the knee won't straighten. Exhale, release. Are your fingertips going wide? This is what we're going to try to avoid by now, perhaps for the last 3 or 2 repetitions. Okay, 2 repetitions. We'll aim to lift the fingers up off the floor as we take that knee up and down. Good. And then from this release, back into your hands and knees or down dog. Back down to your knees. Left leg comes forward. Choose whether you slide the leg forward and bring yourself forward, or if you're happy to sit back onto your heel and perhaps place that brick so that you're not feeling too out of kilt with your hips. And again, you're bringing yourself forward. We're aiming to find a little bit of warmth into the back of the leg. So here, look towards your left foot. I see that my legs have a slight tendency to sort of want to come in. And I can feel the stretch onto the outside of my leg. Maybe if you push the foot forward, so imagine that the ball of the foot was pressing forward, then you can feel this more maybe in your calf or again in your thigh. Oh, and then the other way. Yeah. Lovely long breath. And then from this, we're now going to come away from this and come back into a down dog or hands and knees. And from our down dog, let's come back into a child's posture. You can have your knees together or your knees separated, releasing the forehead towards the floor. If it doesn't want to go all the way to the floor, you're welcome to take your hands into a little totem so that you can rest here. Let's look forward and we'll come onto our front. For the next one, you may want to have brick or 2 at hand. So let's come all the way down onto our fronts. And let's bring the forearms here under. So elbows under the shoulders, fairly wide. So you're coming into your Sphinx, and we'll be staying here for a little while. For some, being in the Sphinx in this way can feel like a little pinch in the lower back. If it's a challenge, but it's okay, you can stay here and explore it a little bit more. If it's a pain, then you absolutely come away. The elbows may want to come a little bit more forward to decrease the angle in the back. Some people, when they stay here for a while, will see that actually the shoulders will overlap and the chest will come forward. Now, if this is not bothering you and it's still comfortable, go for it. For some people, they'll be able to have quite a deep back bend and stay there for ages. Again, we're all made differently, so it doesn't matter. But we are here for certainly a few breaths. So I'll ask you to try to relax the buttocks, because I know mine are working really hard to try to keep me where I am. The space between the legs doesn't matter. Legs together, legs wide. Again, it depends on your anatomy. What you might find helpful is, as we continue to stay here for a further few breaths, you may find that if your neck tires, having a block or a brick here underneath your forehead will still help you maintain that curve, but with a little bit more comfort. And again, explore here, explore with the breath. It's only now that I can fully allow my lower back and my glutes to relax, so that there is something happening in the lower back, but more of a stretch, and definitely not a pain. This is just a perhaps slightly weirder sensation, but I take it it's the engagement of the muscles and stimulating the fibres, the bones around. And so now, and for the next few postures, we take a little bit more time. Almost yin-like, if you like, in the amount of time that we stay in those postures. Take another 3 breaths here. And then lift your head if it was supported. Bring the hands back under the shoulders. You're going to bring yourself back into your hands and knees. Bring the knees under the belly so that then you can sit yourself back and take a variation of your child that feels comfortable. For me, it's a sort of a bit of a child, but also a little bit of a bottom wiggle to release the back. The next posture that we're going to come on to, I'll invite you to take the arms forward, come back onto the knees, tuck the toes and lift yourself back into a down dog. Then take the right knee behind the right wrist and slide the left leg back. I'm going to bring it a little bit more towards the middle of the mat so that I can feel my right heel onto my left thigh here. Some may prefer to bring the right shin a little bit more forward. That is not for me. That is not within my likes and preferences for this posture. But I may here want to use a brick or your blanket to support perhaps the back hip. And we're coming into pigeon. We're going to come into low pigeon, so we're going to come forward. And as we remain in this posture for a while, try to relax into the shoulders. Note that if knee reasons or any other hips or whatever else, this is not for you, you will take this posture on your back. On your back, you will take the right shin across the left thigh, bring the left thigh in and slide the hands either side. So you will still feel that opening here, and this is your variation for you to take. So whichever option you decide to take, you will now stay in this posture for a few breaths and notice and explore what it feels like to be here. And as we come forward, the back rounds slightly. And that can allow for that diaphragm to soften a little bit more. And for relaxation to kick in. You may alternatively be having a little bit of a sarcastic laugh for yourself and thinking, how can I be comfortable in this posture? Observe, are you one of those who find that pigeon is delightful or not so delightful? Stay here for another 3 breaths. Bring yourself back up. Excuse me. And so if you're on your back, you release the posture as well. From here, you're going to bring the back knee in, take the front leg back, maybe again into a down dog. And a 3-legged dog here would feel comfortable, a little bit of a wibble wobble of the right leg. For those of you that were on their back, maybe it's possible to come onto the left side in a pigeon rather than a on its back pigeon. It's up to you. So again, here, back into the down dog. Or you can do this from the hands and knees as well, where you bring the left knee behind the left wrist and release the right leg back. You can choose the angle. Genuinely speaking, we're trying to keep the pelvis stable, so having the back leg a little bit more towards the center might be more helpful for this, but this is your body, not mine. So again, I have my heel around the top of the thigh. I could possibly take a little bit more rotation here, but it then doesn't feel so comfortable in the knee, and I want to keep the knee comfortable. So remember, this pigeon where you're on the shins and the front, so you're lying prone, or you can be onto your back. I said prawn. We're not seafood. I meant prone. Husband behind the camera is laughing. And then we're going to come forward and then stay here for a few breaths. So get comfortable. And nothing says that you cannot then change to being on your back as well. Observe the sensation on this side. Are they similar? Different to the one on the other side? Take another 3 breaths here. And then you're going to bring yourself back up. Again, you may want to take a 3-legged dog. Bring in, first of all, the back knee a little bit more in, tucking the toes, bringing yourself back up, having a little movement into the hip. And then we're going to Release our knees down to the floor, slowly uncurl ourselves back up, slide onto our bottoms, and then let's come onto our backs. Having a couple of bricks or books here of equal size might be quite comfortable. We're going to come into our reclining cobblers. And the reclining cobbler here will have the soles of the feet together, the knees wide. Maybe you take the bricks under your thighs, that can be quite nice. The heels may be as close towards your perineum or as far away as feels comfortable. Take your hands onto your belly. You can have the index finger together and the thumbs together, placing that diamond shape, the yoni mudra, onto your belly here. And feeling the warmth of your hands diffuse on your belly, the opening into the legs. Notice as you breathe and as you stay here, what happens into your body. What happens with the breath too. Take another 3 breaths here. And you might find it nice to bring a little bit of warmth into your hands. And then place the hands to the inner thighs. Those inner thighs have stretched out quite a bit. So a little bit of warmth just to remind them that they're going to need a little bit more action. So take the hands now to the outside of the thighs, bring the legs together. Squeeze the knees tight in towards one another. Bring the right knee in towards the chest, the left knee in towards the chest. Squeeze even tighter in towards one another, the knees, and then in towards the chest as well. Release the feet flat to the floor, and we'll come into a bridge here. If you feel that you'd like to be supported, you can place your bricks under your bottom, and that will keep your bridge lifted for you. Otherwise here, feet to about hip width apart, arms to the side of the body. We're going to inhale, lengthen the tailbone. Exhale, lift ourselves up towards the ceiling. So we're floating the thighs, the pubic bone, the belly, the ribs. Some might even feel comfortable to roll the shoulders and hold onto the outside of the mat or underneath the fingers, whatever feels good for you. We stay here for a few breaths. Maybe you come up and down, or maybe you come back down and stay there, or you can explore again here. Press the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the inner heel, the outer heel. Imagine that your feet are glued on the floor, yet your thighs, it's as if they've got magnets and they're trying to come towards one another. What happens when you do this? I mean, I feel the glutes working very actively. What would happen here if I was to press the feet down as if they were trying to come forward? And that would, for me, bring the weight a little bit more into the shoulders and gently force me to push up a little bit more. Take another 3 breaths here. Slowly release the shoulders, the upper back, the middle back, the lower back, the buttocks. Allow the feet to walk out to the side and the knees to knock in here. Bring the feet together, toes and heels and knees together. The arms any amount away from the side of the body, as long as your knees won't knock into your hands. When you now allow the knees to roll over towards the right side, aim to have the toes and heels together. The knees may separate. You may want to have a little support in between, your blanket or a cushion of some sort or a brick. If this feels comfortable for you to look over towards the left side of the room. Close your eyes and let's stay here for a few more breaths. Bring the gaze back through to the centre, the knees back through towards the centre. Take a breath here. I like to press my head down onto the floor to lift the chest and release the shoulders so that they feel, again, evenly placed on the floor. Inhale. On your next exhale, the knees move over to the left. Toes and heels together again. You may place that blanket in between the knees or maybe underneath the left knee and between the knee and the floor. You can gaze over towards the right side if that suits you. And again, you stay here for a few breaths. The arms, as long as they feel comfortable, can be as low down or as high up as they wish. You get a release if you take the arm a little lower down, a little bit more stretch into the chest if you come to about shoulder height, and a little bit more opening into the side of the body, the ribs, and a little bit more of a stretch into the back. If the arm is up, it's up to you. Take another 3 breaths here. Then bring the gaze back through towards the centre, the knees back through towards the centre. Recenter yourself anywhere that feels comfortable. And then when you're ready, knees go over towards the right. You roll over onto your right side very gently as we'll bring ourselves back up. We'll extend the legs here. Bring the feet flat and the knees in towards the chest. Hold onto your toes, taking the arms to the outside of the legs. And then start to walk the heels a little bit more forward. So you're never losing contact of your belly against your thighs. And so this way you'll come as far forward as your hamstrings will allow you. Remember, you could also have the legs a little bit wider. Coming to our Paschimottanasana, salutation to the west, which this one, having the back again rounded here, just allows you to activate the resting side of your practice. Take another 3 breaths here. Gaze back towards the toes slowly and curl yourself all the way back upright. And for our relaxation today, take the option of legs up the wall or legs on a chair. If a chair or a sofa is more for you, what will happen is that you'll have the chair at your feet. I'll just go and grab mine and show you quickly. And you may want to have a little bit of support there if your chair is a little bit hard. So you bring your bum to the bottom of the chair or the bottom of the sofa, and then you bring your feet to then be resting here. So this is one way that you can come into your relaxation, to your modified Shavasana. Another way that you could do the Viparita Karani would be to find yourself some wall, bring your your stronger side. So I'm right-handed, I'll bring my right bum and right side towards the wall, and then swivel the legs, bring your bum to the wall, and you might need to do a slightly caterpillar-like shuffle to get closer. Find your legs up. You may want to have a little support, a pillow, a blanket, and then take the arms out to the side and find yourself a comfortable spot. So whether this is on your legs resting on the chair or legs up the wall. Let's take a few breaths to just notice here the effect that our practice has had on us. We started with a thorough warming up of our body. And we transitioned into more restful postures, not perhaps in what they entailed. You know, the rotation into the hips in your pigeon might not feel so restful to some of us, but the duration of the postures, the lingering, the breathing into those postures, hopefully brought a sense of quietness, of release. Stay here for a few more breaths. Over the next few breaths, start to stir yourself away from your posture. If your legs are up the wall, allow the heels to slide down so the knees will come in towards the chest. If you're on the chair, you bring the knees in towards the chest as well and maybe move slightly away from the bottom of the chair. Hug the knees in towards the chest, rock from side to side. And then roll over onto one side, being aware of your surroundings. Stay on your side for a couple of breaths. And then the top hand presses to the floor. Bring yourself very gently back up into a comfortable seated posture. Notice how you're feeling right now. Inhale. Hands in towards the chest. Namaste.